Hi everyone, and welcome back to Arguably Speaking. I'm Kiera.
I'm Sarah.
And Sarah has a scratchy voice today.
I do.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I screamed a lot this weekend at activity that will be covered in the catch-up, and so I am losing my voice a little bit. I also just, have been running around doing a lot of things, and I think that,
tired.
Sometimes when you're sleepy and you're talking with friends all the time, your voice gets a little tired, so the greeting sounded a little more raspy.
No, that's why I paused for a second. I was like, whoa.
Why do I sound like that?
No, it was just different because I'm so used to our intros kind of always sounding the same.
The same, yeah.
And I was like, I'm Kiera.
Who, what?
I don't remember who I am anymore.
Is this my host? Yeah. Don't worry, it is still Sarah. We haven't gotten a body double in here. I just do sound a little silly.
No. You're great.
Yeah.
But we have a lot to catch up on. It's been crazy. I feel like we've been running marathons.
Yeah, we have been. We've been running around town. We've been running around Seattle, the state of Washington, and other places. Indeed.
Other countries?
Indeed.
AKA Canada?
True. I don't know. I didn't know if you wanted to
jump into it.
Jump on it.
No, let's start out we did things during the week.
We did.
Honestly, couldn't remember what they were. We were busy at some point, and that brings us to Thursday.
Totally. On Thursday, I had my going away party, which was very, very fun. It was a potluck, but mostly food that I brought, and everybody else brought their high spirits and games and crafts. And it was really, really great. I made pasta salad and brownies, and Bella made a Rice Krispie treat thing with rainbow cereal.
It's supposed to be Fruity Pebbles-esque, but they were different. They were shaped like flowers.
Yeah, it was fun.
And so it tasted good.
Yeah.
It was very sweet and fruity.
Totally.
I loved it. I brought my good spirits because I had just come back from work.
Amazing. We had the barbecue meatballs again. I'm telling you guys, if you ever host a potluck, barbecue,
so good.
grape jelly, meatballs, easiest thing that you can do, and it's amazing. Everybody
and they got
loves it.
devoured.
Mm-hmm. That was the first thing that was gone, and I was like, dang, okay, cool. Because I ate a few, but I was running around. I was flitting and fluttering, being a little social butterfly.
Yeah.
But it was really, really fun. People played yard games. It was everything that I wanted it to be, and I got a lot of great hugs and took pictures, and everyone said everything nice, and I gave Kiera a piggyback ride.
That was very fun and very cute.
There were some people in the park who had instruments and bells on their ankles, and I went over and was like, hey, can you play a song? And I made Bella dance with me, which was very fun. And a lot of my friends made quilt squares that I have packed and will be sewn together into a little memory quilt.
Yeah,
which
it'll
is
be
gonna
good.
Be cute.
Mine is kind of ugly, but just know that I tried. Also, mine might still have a needle in it.
Amazing. Okay. Well, they're all rolled together, so
Great.
I'll see it when I find it.
Hopefully it's not the outer one.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's one of the inner layers.
I think it's okay. I think I have some of the blank ones on the outside.
Good.
Yeah.
But it was really fun, and it was beautiful because we were at a nearby park with water, and we kind of had the sun go down. It was just beautiful.
Yay.
Yeah. It was a nice little goodbye, and it was really sad but good at the same time.
It was really, really nice.
Yeah.
And then on Friday, what did you do on Friday?
And then on Friday, it was my friend Joanna's birthday party, and she was having a sparkle party for her birthday. And so everybody dressed up in sparkles, and we had a sparkle cake and lots of sparkle decorations.
That's awesome. Edible glitter?
It was just sparkly sprinkles.
Cute. Okay, perfect.
yeah. But
That's awesome.
It was really fun, and I also made people film parts of the podcast.
Awesome.
It was really funny because I was like, here, come here, listen to this.
That's
Do
awesome.
this.
That's so
Which
exciting.
will be explained further in the video, or further in the podcast, either this episode or next episode. We're going to do some explaining things. A lot of our upcoming episodes are patched together.
Yes.
So they're not necessarily linear, but they will tell a linear story.
Exactly. Just know that something cool is coming up, and let that anticipation build.
Yeah.
It'll be
just
exciting.
Sit with that.
Yeah.
But Sparkle Party was also great, and then we did karaoke.
How fun. Oh my god.
And I was thinking of you the whole time, and we sang
so fun.
so many songs. I was like, I'm gonna wake up and my throat is gonna hurt.
Yeah.
And it kind of did.
Wow. That's super fun though. What did you sing? Or at least what's one song that you sang?
We sang a lot of songs, a lot of Chapel Roan, and then the issue is we're like, wow, she's such a good singer.
She's really talented.
We
Yeah.
cannot sing these songs.
That's so funny.
We sang some Taylor Swift, we sang some Olivia Rodrigo, we sang some Sabrina Carpenter,
Amazing.
a lot of girlies, and then the boys came in and they were just like, we were trying to make them sing, and they were like, they were trying really hard, but picking bad songs, you know?
Yeah.
That was hard to do. And
That's
then
funny.
some Nicki Minaj.
Oh, cool.
Sprinkled in.
Okay.
And just some, you know,
Rapping on
fun,
the
classic, super bass, obviously.
I love it. That sounds great. I love that. I was like, there has to be Taylor Swift in there because your friend famously is like a huge fan.
Honestly, not as much as you think, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So much more Chapel Roan. Oh, and ABBA.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Always a hit.
Yeah.
Big fan. Big fan.
Big fan.
Nice. Well, that sounds awesome.
So, yeah, that was my Friday.
Nice.
And I got back home very, very late.
I heard you get back very late because I had a little bit of trouble sleeping on Friday, but that's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
No, it's all good. It was by my own actions. On Friday, I hung out with my friend Bella and Grace, and we went to the park and had a cute little picnic.
Aww.
And hung out. It was really nice. They birded some, and I sat around and ate so many snacks. I ate with reckless abandon, you guys. I had a Costco-size jar of pickles, imagine if you
Wow.
will. I did not eat the entire jar by myself,
Okay.
but I almost did. Grace probably had like 4 pickles, and Bella probably had like 2, and I just downed the rest of it. And I don't know if you guys know, but it's like a thing in the sport community to drink pickle juice. It helps with cramping. I think it like revitalizes lost
Something?
sodium? I don't know.
Okay.
I have acquired a taste for pickle juice, and so I drank like pretty much the entire jar of brine as well. So I had a lot of pickles and a lot of brine, and then I had a work bag of cashews, but as you all know, podcast team, I stopped working and therefore had just a very large bag of cashews, and I probably ate like half a pound of cashews, which is a lot of cashews.
Oh my God.
I had a great time.
You girl dinnered.
We journaled a little bit. It was just great. It was just like a picnic, but without actually any real food and only snacks. Very cute though. And we came back here and chatted a little bit, and then I tried to go to sleep, and my stomach just it was like I had swallowed a basketball full of air.
Shocker.
It was crazy.
Shocker.
I know, right?
What could have caused
what
that?
could have done that? Only the consequences of my own actions coming to bite me in the butt. But anyways, I could not find any Tums in the house, therefore slept kind of poorly, and that was super fun. But besides that, picnic, snacking, very fun. Just the consequences of my own actions, less fun.
Nice.
And then Saturday happened.
And I woke up semi-early. It only felt early because I had stayed up so late kind of thing. So, because I think I had gone to bed at 1:30 or 2 a.m. or something, waking up at 8:30 was super unfun.
That makes sense.
But
Jeez.
it was fine. And then Kate and I drove to Canada because we wanted to go to Vancouver. It was our plan for all 3 of us to be able to go to Vancouver, but it just, time got away from us. We are doing things. I mean, you can tell, dear listeners, we are busy bees. We are not just sitting around doing nothing.
True.
We are getting things done. So, unfortunately, Sarah wasn't able to go because she had a thing that she will just describe in a minute.
True.
But Kate and I went up to Vancouver, and we had a very successful outing. We ate a lot of good food, a lot of Asian food, and everybody in the States, at least in Seattle, is like, if you go to Vancouver, everything's 30% off because of the exchange rate.
Amazing.
And so it felt like, we were having really fancy food for
Pretty
still
good price.
more money than you'd want to spend normally at places, but not
fancy
crazy.
food.
Yeah. We had dim sum, and we had tonkatsu, and we had sushi, and
Nice.
it was all very reasonably priced, which was awesome.
Amazing.
And then I just showed him around the very small taste of Vancouver since we really only had a day.
Yeah. Right.
We did stay in this like somewhat sketchy Airbnb because it was only one room within like a house, but every single room within the house was also for tenants. So it was this weird like it almost felt like a dorm. Like we had the communal kitchens and the communal bathrooms. Yeah. It was fine again for one night, no problem.
Like
I didn't have an issue. It almost felt hostily, but it was just a house that someone had converted to like maximize the money that they could out of Airbnbs.
Sure.
Which is annoying, but it was fine and it was relatively cheap. We went to a botanic garden, same one that I went to last time I went. Still beautiful. Super really fun. Great with all of the flowers because summer. And we also walked around downtown Vancouver. And as a side note, downtown Vancouver should really get on it with their public bathrooms. That's all I have to say. I had some issues finding them, and it was very rough. But besides that, pretty good. Our trek back into the States was alright, except for the fact that we had some traffic that we ran into.
Less fun.
But we had a good morning of seeing the water and like downtown Vancouver from the Sphere. Or it's the Vancouver Science Center, I think, but it looks like this giant sphere.
Cool.
And then we came back.
Nice.
And it was Sunday then, which was wild. I was like, how is it now Sunday? Oh my God.
So fair. Fair. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Sarah was
in a different part of Washington for a Frisbee tournament. Drove with roommate Matthew because he was calling lines for a different team. So he was with a different team for most of the tournament, but we got to drive together, which was really fun. He took care of me while I bought Pepto-Bismol from the gas station.
Oh my God, your stomach was still really upset.
Yeah.
Again, shocker.
But anyways, we made it to the fields and stuff. It was really beautiful. There were a whole bunch of Frisbee people there. And, the team played pretty well. I personally did not play super great on Saturday, which was a bummer. But everything was great. I enjoyed the trip. The trip was a win because in the evening I camped with a couple other teammates.
We love camping.
It was really fun. We all stayed in tents, but the place we were on was like a farm and they had a little gazebo set up for us and like a propane fire tank situation. Yeah, so we all sat around the fire. I got a tarot card reading done for me, which was very nice. It was all about my move, and the gist of it is that I will be feeling very financially stable. Which is great. I might feel a little overwhelmed, so I need to make sure that I check in with myself and recognize that, like, self-care is important, and also that, like, whatever I'm being overwhelmed by is probably temporary.
Okay,
and that it will be okay. And then I chose a secondary card, so I got the King and the Queen of Pentacles, which are both about, like, financial and material success.
Okay.
So the King more on the, like, I will just definitely be financially stable and maybe able to, like, share whatever it is that I have accrued generously with others.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Queen is, like, I will be able to accomplish not only, like, my money earning tasks in a way that provide me financial freedom, but I will also be able to be, like, the card was, like, a good mother, but it was, like, a good, like, well-balanced human in, like, life and taking care of myself. And I was like, wow, that's a great reading.
Yeah, I'm like, we love the positivity.
Yeah, I was, like, super jazzed about that. So
money and prosperity, what more could you ask for?
Amazing, right? Yeah, and then the next day, Sunday, we went to a breakfast place, and I got the biggest biscuits and gravy I've ever seen in my entire life. It was crazy. And I split it with someone.
Oh,
I was like,
shoot.
It was so huge.
Well, I'm glad you split it then.
No, me too. And then, yeah, we played better. I was the tweeter of the team, so I was tweeting who was scoring points and who wasn't, and all of, well, not who wasn't, but, who was making Ds and doing other cool stuff. So, yeah, very fun. I played, like, not as much, but I played well for what I did.
Good.
So, that was awesome. And then we came back, and now we're here.
And now we're here. My goodness. So we have quite the episode for you, but we will let future Kiera and Sarah take it away.
Yes. Enjoy the rest of the episode, and we'll see you at the end.
Hello, dear listeners. It is Kiera from the future. And before we jump right into the stories, this is your gentle reminder to go and watch part 1 of this episode. both Sarah and I did these gossip episodes, and we explain all of the rules and how this is going to be done in that first episode. Plus, it's a super fun story. So definitely go back and watch the first episode before we jump into the stories starting now.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Arguably Speaking. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Kiera.
And welcome to this week's episode. As you could probably tell, that wasn't actually Kiera. And that is because we are doing our special episodes where we are telling some gossip to our friends for what is going to be a telephone type game. So, as this first story is told, this will be my gossip story. I will share a story with Matthew, and then I'm going to have him tell it right back to me. I'm going to anonymize everyone, so I'm going to be using some fake names and, maybe changing up some locations or details. I heard this story from a friend when I was catching up with them in England, and she plays for a club team in London, and it's kind of on the east side, so the Frisbee community is a little sectioned off there in terms of neighborhoods, not unlike the north and the south of Seattle.
Okay.
And she had a coach for her club team have a little bit of drama happen, and I am going to share that story with you here today. So, imagine, if you will, Peter and Amy both play for a women's team and a men's club team.
Okay.
The men's club team has been around for quite a while. I would say at least since I was in England, that was like their third or fourth year. So
Okay,
let's say
yeah.
6 years.
Yeah.
And the women's club team started after I left. I think the summer after I left was their first year. So let's say the third year that it was running. When I knew Peter and Amy, they were just friends. They both were studying, getting their master's degrees, something past undergrad. They were quite a bit older than me when I was in England. But yeah, they were just friends. Peter had been in a long-term relationship with another person. We'll call her Julie.
Okay.
And they had been together for the longest time. Whenever Peter came to a Frisbee event, Julie was always there.
Yeah.
And Julie played Ultimate and, was pretty cordial, knew everyone in the community, I would say, but definitely one of those situations, not unlike we see here in Seattle, where like Peter started playing Frisbee and then Julie kind of got roped in. To be fair, Julie, pretty good player. And so Julie was on the same women's club team as Amy. And Amy was the captain for the most recent summer that we are in right now, or at least was going to be the captain.
Okay.
This is important. So, Peter and Julie broke up. I heard this from a friend of a friend. I was a little suspect that this happened because I saw it on social media. People get cleared out from posts and things like that.
Oh,
like
full clear,
okay. Fully out. So probably not the most amicable split, but I had no idea why they had broken up until I heard this story. Imagine, if you will, we have Peter's club team and Amy's club team, and they have a joint tryout.
Okay.
Which is interesting, but as we said, smaller community of Frisbee players on this side of London, and, everybody kind of knows each other. They decided to have a joint tryout.
That's so stupid.
Very, very out of the norm if you know anything about Frisbee tryouts, or at least not normal for a larger community like in Seattle.
Well, for an open team and a women's team, there's no reason.
Very, very atypical. And so I knew this was happening. All the while, behind the scenes, it turns out that Amy, the captain of this women's team, and Peter had started to try to see each other.
Okay.
Okay, which is shocking because Peter had been in this long relationship with Julie for so long.
When you say try to see, you meant they were seeing each other.
I was not given enough details to know how many dates they had went on. But essentially, I was told that Peter confessed his love to Amy. Now, I don't know if this was before or after he broke up with Julie.
Okay.
I don't know if this was before the joint tryout or after the joint tryout. Mm-hmm. But Peter confesses love to Amy. At some point, Peter and Julie break up, right?
Yeah.
Peter and Amy go on a couple of dates. This joint tryout happens.
Yeah.
And instead of having a women's team and a men's team, someone other than Peter or Amy, but remember, Amy is the captain of the women's team, and Peter is, like, a long-standing member of the men's team.
Yeah.
And, like, very in the Ultimate community.
Yeah.
Has come to this tryout, scoping out people for a invite-only mixed Ultimate Frisbee team.
To be fair, that's the only reason to have a joint tryout.
Yes, but people are attending this tryout thinking that they're just trying out for a women's team or just trying out for an open team.
Yes.
And so, essentially, this other person, not a captain of either the men's team or the women's team, sends out invites to people from this mixed tryout to create a mixed team. Both captains jump ship from the women's team.
From the women's team?
From
both
the women's
Amy
team.
and Julie.
Both Amy and then a different person. Julie was not a captain.
Oh, yeah,
but
okay.
Both captains jump ship from the women's team to join this men's team. The women's team ceases to exist.
That's so bad.
Right?
That's ridiculously bad.
Right?
Okay.
So there's just no women's team in East London. Which is wild. Because there are a decent amount of women in that area that want to be playing Ultimate Frisbee, but do not necessarily want to be playing on a mixed team, nor were invited to try out for this mixed team. Right? So, also, all the while, Julie is finding out that Amy, who they are friends, they played on the same women's team for the past 2 summers, finds out that Amy has gone on a couple of dates with Peter, right? And then tells the rest of the women's team that this has happened. So, not only has Amy, like, left the women's team to be a part of this invite-only mixed team, like, a couple of people have come with her, but then also the entire rest of the team is a little, like, PO'd that this long-standing Frisbee couple that has been around for, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, maybe or maybe not, was broken up because of this interesting situationship with Peter and Amy. So, like, the women's team not existing, A, because of this weird mixed tryout poaching off of people, but then also, like, all of the women are choosing sides, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had one more thing to share about Peter. Oh, yes. Okay. So, however many dates happened, whatever, Peter completely ghosts Amy. And does not talk to her at all. Like, they are no contact at all. So, like, Peter really just said, I'm in love with you. I think you're amazing and wonderful. Let's date. I'm gonna... You know, maybe that was before or after. Who's to say? His relationship with Julie.
Yeah.
Jumps ship from the men's team. Joins this mixed team, I think. And now is completely no contact with another player on that team. I don't know if Peter's still playing for the invite-only mixed team.
Is Amy a captain of
the mixed team? Ooh... I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. It would not surprise me if that were the case.
Yes.
Because they were captain of the women's team before it dissolved completely. But yeah, so that's the tea.
That is scalding.
That's
is
the tea.
So hot. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a lot of information, and I didn't tell it in a super straightforward way, but I will be now making the request that you tell me this gossip as straightforward as you can.
Okay.
So that I can share it with the next person.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah.
Lots of detail.
Lots of details. I will say that this gossip has already been through 2 or 3 people, because my friend in England did not actually play for either the original men's or women's team, but got this gossip from another person who had been to the tryout that got, therefore, like, the invite from the mixed team.
And then it was passed to you.
Yes.
And then it was passed on.
Yes.
So
yeah. Like, first person, but not, like, the named characters, given to my friend, then given from that friend to me.
Friend of a friend.
Friend of a friend. Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, Normal Gossip. We are stealing some of your mannerisms, and we appreciate how many wonderful things that you do.
we love it.
You have a great podcast. Anyways, as a side note, just have to shout them out again.
So, pretty hot tea.
Pretty hot tea, and I do think that, like, the bones of what I got still existed. Like, the very, very basic
Yeah.
premise was there. There were some more details that I definitely didn't get.
Yeah.
And there's some details that are simply just wrong.
Right.
that were handed off to me.
Yeah.
But I still think I got the gist of it. Like, Peter still sucks.
Yeah.
We're
Peter
all
definitely
we're
still sucks.
definitely on the Peter hate train.
Yeah. And now we can see how our next guest retold this story.
Awesome. I'm so excited.
Okay, we are back with the telephone episode after taking a short interlude. Matthew is now going to tell me and whoever is next in the telephone line his version of the gossip, which I just shared. So, Matthew, what is the tea?
So, a friend of a friend of a friend told me that when Sarah, because we're not changing that name, was in London, she played for a club team, I want to say. Yeah, club team. And that team had 2 coaches, Amy and Peter.
Yes.
Cool. And these 2 people were friends. And during this time period, Peter was completely inseparable from another Frisbee player, who is named Julie.
Yes.
And so Sarah leaves. Yeah, I think there's no more tea in Sarah's era.
Yeah.
Sarah has recently heard. So, for context, East London, apparently, a smaller Frisbee community, famously.
There's not a lot of ultimate abroad.
Yeah, that's true. And so because of the smaller community, there's sort of a limit to how many teams. And so there's been a men's team that's been around for 6 years or so, was there when Sarah was there. And recently, in 2020, a women's team was formed, where Mo is one of the captains of the women's team.
Where Amy... You keep going.
Where Amy was one of the captains of the women's team, and Peter was not a captain of the men's team, but was sort of like an esteemed member of the sort of men's team. And this past year, the men's team and the women's team made the stupidest decision I've ever heard of, and had a joint tryout. Joint tryouts are a thing. Typically for different club teams that are all looking at the same players, but not in this case. I guess for whoever's listening to this who is not a Frisbee player, there are 3 divisions in club. There is the open division, where anyone of any gender can play. There is a women's division where women matching players or people who identify as women can play that, or non-binary can play there. And then there is mixed, where half the roster is matches male matching players, and then the other half matches women.
Yeah.
And so in East London, there's only a. I need to stop saying.
You need to stop laughing right after you say it.
Sorry. In East London.
That was not better. Try again. We're drilling this until you get it right.
In East London, there was a open team and a women's team, but no mixed team. And so this mixed tryout happens. At the mixed tryout, just for sake of easiness, Peter and Julie are still dating. And so two things happen around the same time. Number one, secret third person, not a captain of either the men's team or the women's team, decided that, hey, I want to form a mixed team. Didn't tell any of the organizers of the tryout this, and said just separately invited people from the tryout to the mixed team. One of the people they invited, apparently, was a captain of the women's team, Amy, and Amy decided to leave the women's team that they said that they were going to lead for the mixed team, causing the women's team to fold.
Yeah.
Which, crazy. Aside from all of this, at the same time, Peter at some point broke up with Julie for the benefit of the doubt before the next thing that happened. Then Peter goes to Amy and confesses his love. They might have been seeing each other before he confessed his love. They might have not. I don't know. And they see each other for some amount of dates and are both on the first iteration of this mixed team. Then, so now, first in East London, now there is probably still a men's team, and definitely this mixed team is still there, and apparently it's doing pretty well, and no women's team. So everyone that came to the tryout and was like, I want to play for a women's club team in East London, is now just not playing Frisbee. Fun. Probably even captains of that club team are not playing Frisbee, which is crazy. Then Peter decides to ghost Amy. So just blowing up two things. And this was not in what Sarah told me, but we are nosy. And Peter is not on the mixed team anymore either. Probably because of this. Because it's hard to ghost someone when you play on the same mixed team as them. Mm-hmm. I think that's all the tea.
Any closing thoughts or opinions that you want to share with the next telephone person?
No, it's fucking crazy. It looks so bad for the people involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's gossip. Okay, thank you. And now we will go on to our next telephone guest.
That was wild.
Yeah, right?
That was wild. I think that Amy was, like, really taken aback. I felt like she took a back seat in that story.
I agree.
Compared to when you told it.
Yeah. I think he focused a lot more on the actual, like, tryout and stuff like that, which makes sense looking at who he is as a person.
Frisbee forward.
Yeah,
Drama
exactly.
second.
Frisbee forward, drama second.
I'm a player. No drama.
No drama. but then, we also had, for the benefit of the doubt, Peter and Julie had already broken up before he, confessed his love to Amy.
Yeah.
In this version.
Yeah. And it was just like, Amy was just like kind of there. I get that he did mention that she was the captain, and she was kind of the reason, obviously, that the women's team folded.
Yeah.
Because, like, they had no leader, they had no one to kind of fill that spot.
That role.
That really important role to, like, get things moving. But I feel like it was like, yeah, she dropped it. What we did, like, the thing that was shocking or felt shocking was the fact that they were having this overlapping mixed tryout.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the invitation only. Like, I think the invitation only got a little bit lost.
The invitation only, it was, like, from that tryout.
Yeah, but that wasn't as clear this time.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So, I mean, the story definitely, I think, retained a lot of the original feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're definitely still in East London. East London was mentioned a lot. I wonder if we're gonna migrate a little.
Who's to say?
East London specifically is interesting because I feel like most Americans don't know geography.
Fair.
But since you studied abroad there, it makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
So, I'm really excited to see where Peter and Amy and Julie end up next.
Yeah. And so now Kiera's going to listen to our next guest, Cade.
Woo!
Our next guest on this telephone episode is Cade. Cade,
Indeed.
you just listened to the hot gossip from
Yes.
Matthew. What is the tea?
Okay, so here's the tea. You have English people.
Yes.
These English people are in East London. There are two teams. There's a women's team and a mixed team. So here's the situation. You have these friends and these people. I don't remember the first connections, but the first connections, you have Peter and you have Julie. They're dating or something. And then you also have Amy, who's a good friend. And so basically there's all these different, like, Ultimate Frisbee. You have tryouts. That's how things work in order to get on teams. So they end up having a mixed, basically a mixed tryout with men and women. Everybody can join. And so at the current moment, there's an all around team, would be a way to phrase it, and a women's team.
Mm-hmm.
So the leader of this women's team, her name is Amy.
Yeah.
And so Peter and Julie have been dating, and then it's like a situation, and then all of a sudden there was like this secret meeting, this like weird maniacal meeting of like, hey, we're going to invite people to basically be on a team, but like not tell anybody of the organizers that they're going to be on the team, or like we're going to kind of throw a curveball here. And so that's what happened. And Amy, who is the leader of the women's team, ends up being like, oh my gosh, I'm invited. Let me skip out on let me do this, like, audition?
Yeah.
Tryout. I don't know why that was the only thing I could think of. Anyways, she does that. As a result, the women's team is now disbanded, and now there's a men's team and an I guess like everyone free-for-all team.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Julie and Peter, who have been canoodling, are now donezo. And then Peter sneaks up, slides the DMs, but probably just had like a normal friendly conversation and was like, I love you, Amy. And now they're together. And then there's like all this time, and now it's just a hot mess. And now Julie's probably sad. But then all of a sudden the assumption is that they are no longer together. And that's the tea.
And that's the tea. Do you have anything else that you want to say?
No, that was a very abridged version of what
That was a very
told.
abridged version.
I feel like it's in East London, and that is that imagining everybody with British accents. That's important to know.
Amazing. Do you have any feelings about what happened that you want to share with the next telephone guest?
I feel like there was secret feelings. I feel like this was a weird love triangle situation that was going on previously. It was probably under the surface. I don't know where I don't know what they were doing sneaky.
Whose side are you on?
Whose side am I on?
Yeah.
I just don't know what happened to Julie.
Yeah.
What happened to this woman?
Yeah.
We don't know where she's at.
What happened
What
to
is she
Julie?
doing? What happened to Julie?
True. Justice for Julie.
Justice for Julie.
We stand. Okay, thank you so much, Cade, for joining the podcast. We will now be moving on to our
Yay.
next guest.
Justice for Julie.
Justice for Julie. So in this version, Peter and Amy,
Yeah.
they stay together.
They stay together, and also, it was like, Cade was like, you know, he was probably just being nice, having a normal conversation. He was like, maybe slid into the DMs.
Right.
But, like, probably just having a nice conversation.
Yeah.
And I was like, sounds sus still to me. And obviously it was.
Yeah. Well, and like, in this point, we have love triangle situation happening between the three as a possible scenario, you know, instead of just Peter coming out of the blue to confess his love to Amy.
Yes. And, this was the first time in the tryouts that we were kind of... I feel like Amy was captain. It was mentioned that Amy was captain.
Yeah.
But was it mentioned that Peter was any? That was lost a long time ago.
That was lost. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if Peter or Julie in this instance were talked about at all, including Frisbee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they were. I think we still do have the bones, and we got East London in there in the very last minute.
We did.
We still have a place.
Yes.
And we still have an activity. We're still
Yes.
Frisbeeing.
Yeah. So the thing, though, that Cade got a little confused about was that Amy was invited to a tryout.
Yes.
Not that there was a tryout and then invitations were sent out later to join the team.
This was the first time it was, like, nefarious, too. That, like, ooh, they got together and talked.
Yes,
Yeah.
secret, what was it? Like a diabolical meeting or something?
Yes.
Maniacal.
Yes,
Great
exactly.
word, Cade. Great word.
So there's definitely some, like, juice being added in terms of, like, there's stuff happening under the table.
Behind the scenes sneakiness.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, there was sneakiness in the original, but it happened post-tryout
Yeah.
instead of pre-tryout.
Different type of
Yeah,
sneakiness.
exactly. So no women matching players in Cade's version of the story went to a tryout where they thought they could join a team that no longer exists.
Whoa.
We lost that part.
Yeah. Okay, I'm into it.
There you go.
All right,
There you go.
let's move on.
Our
to...
next guest is Bella. Our next guest on this telephone episode is roommate Bella.
Hello.
You have met her before. We love her. She just finished listening to Cade's version of The Gossip. So, Bella,
I did.
what is the tea?
Okay. So I feel slightly disadvantaged coming after both of the boys, but here is the tea. There were 2 teams of Ultimate Frisbee players located in East England. These are all British players together. One of them is a mixed team, one of them is a women's Frisbee team. So, on these teams, the lead person on the women's team is Amy. And then there's 2 people on the mixed team, Peter and Julie. Basically, Peter and Julie are dating, and Amy's over on the women's team. And at some point, something kind of menacing happens. There's a secret meeting of some sort. What I assume happened was there was a lot of Ultimate Frisbee players who were all friends, and they decided that the coaches or the organizers of the Frisbee teams didn't deserve them, and they wanted to play on their own team or something. So they had tryouts of some sort. Some point along the line, Julie and Peter stopped dating because Peter slid into Amy's DMs and was like, hey, I really like you, something, and started canoodling. And then that's it, I think. Very, very big questions on what happened to everyone. What happened to Julie? She was probably all alone and very sad.
Yeah. So,
That's about all I remember.
Okay. Whose side of this gossip are you on? Who do you think is in the wrong? Who do you think is in the right?
I think Peter shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay, do you have anything else that you want to share with the next guest on this telephone podcast?
Good luck.
Thank you, Bella. And now we're on to our next guest.
Oh my goodness, so a lot changed. I feel like it was a fast story. The second time I've heard this, because now we're doing this linearly.
Yes.
I didn't realize how much had gotten like cut down and cut down and cut down.
Right.
And we're like bare bones.
We've lost a lot. So Peter and Amy, again, still probably together, and also like not as scandalous, because Amy and Julie in the original story, friends, teammates.
Yeah.
Now it's just, maybe
don't know
Amy
each
and
other.
Julie don't even know each other.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
Exactly.
And also, I think that, well, we have this whole tryout thing like very loosely.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
barely in there.
Exactly. We don't have any tryouts for people except for those who are in the nefarious like mixed team scenario. The reason why that's nefarious is unclear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just bad.
Exactly. And also, is Amy a part of that nefarious meeting?
Who's to say?
Who's to say? Exactly. Also, Peter and Julie, not at all attached to the Frisbee teams yet again.
Yes, again.
Yeah.
And small but notable, we're in East England now.
It's true. East London is no more. East England, 100%.
It's all the rage these days. That's what I've heard.
I love it. Yeah.
Okay, so I think now we're jumping back into, like, this is where you're going to hear 2 Kieras in a row.
Exactly.
And 2
So,
Sarahs.
We're now
to be
going to
fair.
listen to the Kiera who has not heard anything except for what you just heard, Bella's rendition of the story. And we're going to see what Kiera does with Bella's information.
Oh my gosh,
And
I'm
how
pumped.
this gossip has changed over the tellings.
So pumped.
Hi, I am back with the next person in our telephone episode, which is podcast host Kiera herself.
I'm back. Even though you've been hearing me this whole episode, I'm like back because this is Kiera back from the past.
Exactly. This Kiera has only heard the version that you just heard Bella tell, and she is now going to give the final rendition of this gossip story. So, Kiera, what's the tea?
Okay, I'm gonna try to do my best to fill in these gaps because, like, let me tell you, there's some gaps. So, first of all, we got 3 main players in this story.
Yeah.
We got Peter and we've got Julie. And Peter and Julie are dating, which is awesome. And then we also have friend Amy. And Amy's just in the mix. And Peter, Julie, and Amy are all hanging out in England because that's where we're at right now. And you know, if it's a Sarah story, we're talking about Frisbee. So all these people are hanging out together in England and they are playing Frisbee for this one team. Or like they at least have history playing Frisbee together. I'm not sure if they were all on the same team, all exactly on the same circles. I know that there are 2 teams. One is a women's team only, women's league, women's team. I don't know exactly the wording of that, but we also have a mixed team, which Peter is definitely on because he's not a woman, presumably. This is what pronouns I've been told.
I presume correctly. Yes.
And then it's possible that Julie is on both of them, and that's where the crossover is. That's my guess. And then Amy, I think, was like the captain or like just a prominent person on the women's league. Again, these are kind of guesses, but also kind of what I remember. So, we're all hanging out and we're not enjoying our Frisbee teams right now. For some reason, they're just not that good. And we're like, the coaches don't respect us. Like, we play so good together. They're not giving us the playtime we want. We're not getting to do the things that we like to do. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to start a different Frisbee team because we can do so much better. Like, we have the good players. We know each other really well. And we're just going to do way better as a team when we don't have these weird coaches hanging over our head. So that's what they do. They start a team, they have tryouts and everything, they're getting their other friends involved because we know Frisbee is so enmeshed, like everybody be knowing everybody. But they get their friends to try out, they make teams. I'm assuming that this is also a mixed team because Peter is here. And they just have a good time. I feel like everything starts off nice, but this is when Peter and Amy start spending a lot more time together because they're all on this team now. So because they're all on the team, they're just like going to practice together, getting dinners together, hanging out before and after. And Peter is doing some sketchy stuff. He's being like an emotional cheater and then follows it up with some actual cheating. He is sliding into Amy's DMs and being like, hey girl, I think you're really cute. I really like you. And like, how do you feel? Like, I had to get this off my chest. Like, it just pains me to not tell you. Like, I'm the victim kind of thing. So we hate Peter. But he does this to our girl, Julie. And of course, Julie's like, boy, you being so dumb right now. We're done. We're breaking up. Like, if I found this out and I were Julie, I'd be extremely upset. So that's what they do. It's falling actively. I caught it.
Good work. Good work.
How are we gonna do this? I want it up so badly.
I know.
We can keep it down. Let's keep it down for this for now because we're not.
Because we're not filming.
Yeah, we're not filming.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
Perfect.
Let's do that.
Perfect.
Because this is horrible.
Kira, I'm loving this. I should have had you on so much earlier, but that's not how it works.
It's okay. Action. So now I'm assuming it's summer. So I'm hoping that our friends in Frisbee are able to mend this gap. But honestly, I'm feeling like this destroys the Frisbee team, the newfound Frisbee team that they just made. And like everything's a mess. Everybody's upset at everyone. Everybody's picking sides. And obviously Julie's heartbroken. Amy's a homewrecker, but let's not blame Amy. It's not her fault. It is Peter's fault. My hope is that our girls come together, we disown Peter, and we make sure that he is banned from all of the further Frisbee friendship hangouts, and he can't be that good at Frisbee. Come on, we don't need him on the team. I hope they kick him out and create a new team because they're all women. Be like, Peter, you can't join because it's not a mixed team. And they both have hot girl summers with other people. The end.
Amazing. Bravo. Bravo. Kira, I love it. I'm so excited for you to hear the rest of these versions.
I'm really excited too. Honestly, I was worried because you were like, there's not that much here. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I felt like I could pull enough strands to at least make a story for myself. I don't know if it's anything similar to the real story, but like, I'm happy.
You're just gonna have to find out. And now we will hear you from the future react to what you just said.
Yeah, we'll react
Coming up
to
next.
what I just said and then the whole thing all together.
Amazing. Let's go.
We'll be back.
So many things to react to.
So many things.
You guessed and added in a lot of details that were correct. Like, you brought back that Julie and Peter and Amy were friends.
Yeah.
Which is good. And you also brought Peter and Julie back into the Frisbee community.
Yes.
Which is
so
good.
Everybody's doing Frisbee.
Everybody's doing Frisbee. You kept what you were given, that the tryouts were for the nefarious team by itself.
Yeah, but I forgot, we didn't mention it last time. Bella had added that the coaches were like bad, or
Yes,
like
from the original
they were like
teams.
just not into the original team.
Yeah.
So I was assuming that they were making their own teams
Right.
and like no more
Yeah.
with their old stuff.
That's something I really enjoyed about your version of the story, is that this new team was like a really good, inclusive, wonderful Frisbee moment where it was like, and they decided that they didn't like the old coaches, and so they decided that they were going to make one big team and invite all of their friends, and they would get to play together, and it would be happy and lovely, which in the original Gossip story, this new team is excluding a lot of people who wanted to play Frisbee.
It's totally opposite.
Exactly. And it's not one big happy family, it's like a select few, the chosen ones. So I thought that was cute. I really liked that you were like, Frisbee's all enmeshed, and so the community is happy and we're all together.
Well, okay, but it's just like how any group sport, any club,
totally.
anything, it's like you're all having your own drama. Everybody is having their own things. Everyone has history with everyone. But if anybody comes for anyone on the team, now you're family again. Now you're like a united
Oh, for sure.
piece.
Oh, for sure. That's the other thing that you brought back in is that Peter kicked off the team.
Peter kicked off the team.
You made that up, but also just so real.
It was just wishful thinking, really.
Yeah.
I was just like, what would I hope would happen?
There you go.
I hope that everyone gets karma.
Yeah. Hey, karma's a bitch.
Should have known better. Oh my god.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to be fair, a hot girl summer, I don't know, but
It's hard to say, but we do know that Peter and Amy broke up.
Peter and Amy did break
now
up.
we
They did break up. Did break up. So your hope that Amy would be hot girl summer, not exactly. She didn't drop Peter.
Yeah.
Peter dropped her.
But still,
I'm
sure
they're not together.
I'm sure some rebounding was happening.
Yeah. Slay.
Slay.
Yes.
But no, I'm honestly pretty pleased with how the story ended up.
You did very, very well. Dear podcast listener, you could not see my face, but just imagine me nodding so enthusiastically while Kiera's telling this gossip story that she knows almost nothing about because, not many details were retained.
No, not many, and
you did great.
Well, you know what I think helped me is that I've heard so many of your other Frisbee stories, and so nothing's been to the degree of this. This is like hot boiling tea, like
Yes.
right off the kettle.
I'm so glad you thought so.
And it actually implicated a lot of different people, but I do think I am a little bit more well versed in like the Frisbeeverse.
Yes.
One, we had a Frisbee podcast episode.
So
if
true.
you haven't watched it or
You should
listened
go
to
over
it,
and listen to it.
you should do that. And it'll give you a crash course in all things Ultimate Frisbee. But two, just in general, like in passing, we've had some conversations about some Frisbee drama in the past.
Totally. I may or may not have experienced some Frisbee drama with a mixed team my own self, more relatedly. So
More common than you think.
Hey, whenever you have multiple genders, especially heterosexual people,
Together?
multiple genders on a team, gets messy. It gets messy. Don't date your teammates, okay? Anyone who's dated a teammate will tell you straight to your face, it's the worst idea you could ever do.
Or
So.
do it, and then you'll have a really good story.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. And you can tell it to us on Arguably Speaking. Just kidding.
No, we're not done yet. We
I
gotta
know.
do a final.
I know.
You tried.
Just being silly. But we would love to hear your tea if you have dated a teammate.
Well, yeah, and we would just love to hear your tea in general. If you have any hot goss, this was probably the first and last time that we're gonna do an episode like this just because it involves so many guests.
True.
And it's, to find the right story for something like this takes a lot of thinking.
It does.
But if you have any hot gossip, we wouldn't mind hearing it, and maybe we could just reiterate it because
Yeah.
it's already passed on, friend of a friend.
Exactly.
So we'll anonymize it. We're going to follow the normal gossip footsteps. And you know what? It might make it on the podcast, but it might just be a great, entertaining story for me and Sarah.
We love to chat and we love to have opinions.
Oh, yes. I love having opinions on people I don't know because it hurts no one.
Exactly.
But it does benefit me.
It's like when we were talking about the television characters where we can say really mean things about them because they're not real. If they're people we don't know, they're basically not real.
And if it's gone through this many stories, this many iterations, let's be real, most of these people aren't like how they're being told as.
Oh, definitely.
They're already characters.
Yeah.
Because of how many different changes have been happening between people.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that's my favorite part about hearing this is what the things are how the things are changing and everything.
Yeah.
And what people are retaining, what is the through line.
Right.
And cheating is a through line.
And it shows you what people think is important,
Yeah.
because you spend time on the different things depending on what you think is important. You spend a lot of time on the cheating aspect, well, Matthew spent a lot of time on this whole invite tryout
And the
business.
Frisbee, yeah.
exactly. So, kind of fun, kind of interesting. Also, you know, diabolical, mischievous, you know, all of these fun little, like, words that get thrown in just because people have opinions on the goings on.
And it's funny too, because sometimes those words get carried over.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you heard last episode, I think like one of the words was keen. Someone
Yes.
was keen on something, and I'm like, how did that? It didn't make it so many stories through, but it made it like one more, and I'm
Right.
like, how did that word
Such
make
a
it through?
specific
Or-
emotion that it only has the word keen.
Yeah, or like the rolling hills of Texas,
Yes,
like that
indeed,
went through.
indeed.
And so, I mean, if you haven't watched part 1 of this, where you'll hear a completely different story with completely different guests, you should just go listen to the episode before this as well. Basically, this end part is just for us to plug all of the other episodes you should listen to.
It's so true. If you haven't listened to every other episode of our podcast, you probably should, because this is our penultimate posting.
Yes.
Next Wednesday, we will have a special finale episode ready for you all. And I know that Kiera and I are both planning on coming up with some fun games that may or may not have to do with previous episodes. Who's to say?
Who's to say?
So you should all go do your homework and listen up so that you're all caught up for our finale next week.
Yes. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. We really hope you enjoyed listening to the hot goss and also the amazing reactions, of course.
Beautiful.
We are posting episodes every Wednesday for one more Wednesday at the very least. Because if you haven't heard, Sarah's moving away for grad school.
Yay.
But never fear, we are still going to be friends and talking and having our own podcast episodes, but maybe you just won't get to hear them because it'll just be us talking.
Definitely. And also, as always, follow our Instagram. Sometimes we post stuff on there. Who's to say? We might have just done a photo shoot to post on our Instagram later. And, you know, I know we always promise, but you'll never know if we follow through unless you go and give us a follow.
Exactly, it costs you nothing.
That's
we
true.
also have a YouTube, so if you want to see our faces in some episodes, some of them have video formats. But I think that's going to do it for this evening. Thanks again for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on
Arguably speaking. Bye.